Anybody here?
Yes.
Okay. I'll Our interpreter did not sign that, I hope.
Anim Buju, Anamakikekwe, Indishnakas, Mikanak, Indodam. What I said was Anin, which in Ojibwe means I see your light. And what it means is that we have a physical and a spiritual sense to us. And our spirit, when we meet somebody for the first time, can you hear me? Sorry. Sorry, Maya. When we meet somebody for the first time, our spirits automatically start communicating to each other. And sometimes later on when we meet each other again, like today, I see all these faces that I don't know hardly any. I know Joan and Christopher and Maya, and that's about it. But when we see each other again someplace, even if we don't remember each other physically, spiritually, our spirits will remember each other. And the reason I just wanted to say a little bit more about that is because even though Kari left in a physical sense, spiritually she's still here. Just like her spirit was here before, it's still with us now. And Bonjour is a formal way of saying hello to everybody. And my name is, which is our tradition to introduce ourselves, is Anamakikekwe, which means, and you'll laugh, a few people that have talked to me today, a woman who carries all the thunders within her. I knew somebody would laugh. And Mikanak and Dodam, our family, the Fecto side of our family is Turtle Clan. We have Ojibwe blood, and I guess that's it. I'm Joan's cousin, and we're, like I mentioned, we have Ojibwe blood. Today we gather to celebrate at Kari's special place in the woods at Camp Alice Chester. We gather surrounded by a rainbow of colors representing the life of an amazing spirit. In our Anishinaabe teachings, she has already made her journey through the Milky Way. And earlier I came out here and I called to her spirit to come join us today. And I also left a spirit plate, which is when we leave a little bit of everything, all the food that was served today. I took a little bit of each one and I set it by a tree for Kari because we feed our spirits too. In our teachings, when someone makes their journey, we say a bun after their name so we know that they have passed it and they're now not a physical sense but a spiritual sense. And so today Kari Abun's spirit, today Kari Abun's spirit will stand close to Joan, Maya, and Christopher, and she will listen to what she did on Earth Mother today with all the people honoring her, who she touched and how she loved. I have made prayer ties of blue and green, which represent Kari Abun's favorite colors, as well as Joan's family clan, our family clan, the Turtle Clan. The colors represent our family's clan. You can take a prayer tie that has tobacco in it, and you can say a prayer for Kari Abun and her family. The asema or tobacco holds the prayers and memories of today's celebration. They can also be placed in the woods, or because the fabric is 100% cotton, so it's safe for the environment. Or you can take one home as a remembrance of today's event. Kari Abun's family thanks each one of you for coming today to celebrate her physical and spiritual life on Earth Mother. She now continues her spirit life and can come to us when we call her. In our language, we never say goodbye, we say gegwabanan, which in English means we will see you later. We will all meet up with Kari Abun again. Miigwech, thank you.
We're going to pass these around if you would like to take one, and just try to see that the next row gets it. So thank you so much for being here today. If you don't know who I am, I'm Joan, and I was fortunate enough, lucky enough, blessed enough to be Kari's wife for 28 years. Though we got married in 2014, we had been together since 1995. But Kari and I met when we were Girl Scouts. My troop at St. Bernard's had disbanded, and I had to look for the public school troop, which was Kari's troop. And so I spent time with Kari in the woods, camping at her house. Her mom was the troop leader for many years. We reconnected in our early 20s. We kept running into each other at odd times. I think it was fate. And though we both attended camp here at Alice Chester, I later moved on to a different camp, Camp Northern Hills. But Kari spent a lot of her time here, first as a camper and then as staff. This camp, this space where we are now, was extremely special to Kari. It was her summer home, her home away from home, where she met friends who would grow to be family. In fact, many of the people here today are those Girl Scout friends. If you are connected to Kari through Scouts, would you please raise your hand? And I think it goes, I'm a retired teacher, newly retired, but it reminds me of how important those experiences are for children and how those lifelong friends, and Kari really, she blossomed here. She considered this place to be sacred, even magical, and she hoped that we'd be celebrating her life here today, and here we are. It's a final wish come true for her. Before we move on, I would really like to take just a few moments of silence, a moment to reflect, to get centered from leaving our sort of party atmosphere to being here, to take a few deep breaths and really absorb the beautiful space and nature around us, to connect with all of those who have been on these singing steps in the past, those who are still on this earth and those who are not. And finally, to know that Kari and all who have gone before us live on in our hearts and through our own lives. Technology. We light this candle which transforms light into light and warmth. As we remember Kari, may we also call forth transformation in ourselves, from grief into healing, from memories into wholeness, and from celebration, love.
When I Am Among the Trees by Mary Oliver. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the birch, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me The trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." And they call again. "It's simple," they say, "and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine."
We're going to sing Spirit of Life twice through.
Hello. My name is Gina Jorgensen, and I am here representing all the art teachers of Milwaukee Public Schools. Kari was a phenomenal art teacher for thousands of students in Milwaukee Public Schools for 33 years. She not only touched the lives of students, but many of us art teachers in Milwaukee Public Schools, and as well as across the country. Kari was born to be an art teacher. Her dream since she was a little girl, that dream was born right here at Camp Alice Chester. Kari retired June of 2020, and then she was diagnosed with cancer April of that year. We had gone virtual for COVID, but Kari kept up her classes even though she was ill, and she held those classes and chats with students from her chemotherapy chair. That's how dedicated she was. She taught at Fairview Elementary School her entire career. That is not very common. I tell you, I've probably been in at least 10 schools myself. She taught in a basement, small room with 0 windows, and it was lined with shelves, supplies, and students' work. Why do I know that? Because I was blessed to be one of her student teachers. She was only 2 years older than me, and I learned a lot from her. She taught me how to stay organized, and she taught me how to plan thematically. And that's something that I carried with me through my 23 years in the classroom. And now I'm a visual arts teacher mentor for our new teachers, and I teach them these same things that she instilled in me. Kari mentored many teachers in TABS, which means teaching and artistic behavior, throughout Wisconsin and even the country. Terry went to TAB training in Massachusetts, which she paid out of her own pocket, and she learned how to retool her teaching approach. She transitioned from cookie cutter art lessons like I show you and you copy what I do, which is how many and most art teachers still teach today. She realized that the older students needed to design their own projects and see them through. like a real artist does. This energized her as an art educator and inspired others to follow her lead. And I'll tell you, we have the teacher that was in her position was still doing that and still teaches that way. So, and many other teachers in MPS too. She was in a statewide TAB group and went out of her way to help teachers she didn't even know who wanted to plan and wanted to do TAB. She did this for the past 10 years, in addition to teaching and having a family. At the end of Kari's teaching career, she started a middle school forensics team at Fairview. This was a new endeavor for her, and she was super excited to step out of her comfort zone. Her team won awards and were successful and succeeded. More importantly, her art room became a safe space for shy middle school kids to come out of their shells and by engaging in speech competitions. Lastly, I wanted to mention that Kari was active in making positive change for students and staff. She was an active building representative for Fairview for many years, representing the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. So even though we didn't see each other all the time, we used to see each other at our union meetings. So that was very, very nice for me. There's a common thread here that I want to point out. Kari gave her time and talents to make a positive impact on people's lives, not only in our art room, but as you all know, there's a lot of people here who loved her. She will be held in high esteem for her contributions in education and service to children. She loved what she did, and I can say without a doubt that she succeeded, and Kari will be deeply, deeply missed.
Hi, I'm Bonnie, and I have been friends with Kari since the 80s. So many people have been touched by our dear friend Kari George. Our memories of Kari and her creative expressions will continue to grace our lives. Kari and I met, as I said, in the mid to late 80s. We instantly connected through our love of children, education, and our shared lifestyle, and our desire to have a family. We both chose an unconventional way of having a child with the help of a doctor and a donor. We both succeeded in giving birth to beautiful children who have grown to be smart, successful, kind, and generous adults. We became a group facilitators at the Counseling Center of Milwaukee, our first support group. So she didn't just do art and teaching, she also facilitated groups at the Counseling Center. So she had many, many talents. Our first support group was called Free Space. It was for adults questioning their sexual identity.
Yes.
And our second group was called Rainbow Families, which is, I guess we didn't know there was a big Rainbow Families, but we called it that. And it was for gay and lesbian parent figures. This group kind of had an offshoot that turned into a social group where we did all kinds of things socially together, camping and whatever. But it wasn't the big, big rainbow. But it was a little rainbow. During this time, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had the honor of caring for Maya, Kari's daughter, when she was very young. Kari would razz me about certain things that happened when Maya was with me that you got to see it first, and she would get pretty upset with me if I told her. So now my daughter has a baby now, and I don't tell her anything he does. Oh, you saw him do what? Oh, I didn't know that. I don't say anything. Our friendship continued to grow, and although our busy lives did not allow us to socialize as often as we would have liked, we found ourselves scheduling vacations and taking art classes to ensure time to see one another. One place we visited several times was Bowden's Bayfield Resort in Washburn, Wisconsin. We stayed in cute little cabins and took many side trips, like the Big Top at Chautauqua Music Venue, where one time we saw Katie Lang, and we saw many other artists as well. We went to the Delta Diner that was featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Yes, and that wasn't the only Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives place we went to either. We also went on a sailboat ride, remember that, Maya? On Lake Superior, and Dawn was there too. Many terrific camp meals were shared there. Lindsay made us a beautiful Persian meal when she was there one time. Another bonding experience we shared were the art classes where we dyed silk scarves and made jewelry and made cutting boards and did paper marbling. Kari's creations were always stunningly beautiful. Kari brought so much love and creativity to my family and all of yours. She is greatly missed already. I feel like she would want us all to remember her by paying that love, creativity, and friendship forward.
Hi everyone. Thank you all for coming out for Kari's celebration of life. I want to thank Joan and Maya and Chris and all the hosts and people helping out with the event for putting together such a lovely tribute to our dear friend. She would have loved this, to be here with all of us today. I'm Becky, or Beck, as Kari liked to call me. And it will be hard for me to talk with you today without crying. So I apologize in advance. Sorry. Kari and I were friends for 50 years. Darn it. Since second grade. And some of my earliest memories of her include coming here to Camp Chester. Our first summer here, we were 9 years old. Her camp name was Pokey. And she could be sort of pokey. She didn't like to rush. She liked to take her time to experience things, to make new things, to talk about things, to observe things, and to learn new things. It seems to me being pokey really helped her thoroughly enjoy her life and stay in the present moment. Our first year at Camp Chester, we stayed in the A-frame cabins in Robin Hood. I was pretty homesick, but Kari loved it here. I don't remember her missing home at all. I don't remember her complaining about anything at camp, except maybe the food. She looked forward to coming to camp all year long. She didn't seem to mind the hikes in the hot sun, chores like cleaning the latrines, the bugs and the spiders, the ice-cold showers, or the swimmer's itch. She thought Camp Chester was great. She was the quintessential happy camper. And I remember she especially loved going to the Bauhaus with Sandy, which was the art center here at camp. And once she got there, she never wanted to leave. It was full of art supplies and art projects and different materials, colors and smells. It was right up her alley. She loved all the details, and she loved to take it all in and explore. I can remember we made candles in sand molds, tie-dyed t-shirts, and braided bracelets and lanyards, and she loved it all. Looking back, I think Camp Chester was where she was most able to be herself, her most relaxed and curious and carefree, away from her divorcing parents and pesky little brother, enjoying and exploring nature, finding some peace and quiet, meeting new people, and making friends with campers who enjoyed the same things she did. We used to sit on these singing steps. I think maybe we were waiting for it to be our dinner time. And sometimes we sat here after dinner too, and it would be in the dark, and there would be a big campfire the way I remember it. And we would sing songs led by the camp counselors. And we would all sit close together to try and stay warm, and we would sway gently back and forth as we sang and stared into the flames and sang and sang. One of the camp songs that has stuck with me all these years was The Little Round. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other's gold. Do you remember that one too? Yeah. So I think it could have been the theme song for Kari's life. She was awesome at making friends. She met and befriended so many people over the years, and we are all evidence of that. She made new friends everywhere she went, and she would keep them for a long time too. What a rare and special gift. It was her superpower. What a great example for how to lead a life. Make new friends and keep the old. She was making new friends up until the end. All the nurses at the cancer center knew her and would come to say hi whenever she came in for an appointment. I wanted to reflect on her gift, to think about how and why she was so good at friendship. A good lesson to learn and use in my life now that I find myself with one less dear friend. I think two big reasons for her friendship success were her abilities to care and to share. She was great at both. She truly cared about people, all kinds of people, her whole life. Many of you probably know she was the caregiver for both her grandmother and uncle as they aged and declined in health. But did you know her caring ways started many years before that? Growing up, she would get so many babysitting jobs. She would call me up and ask me to handle some of the overflow. And I wasn't much of a substitute. Who wouldn't want a kind, caring, gentle person like Kari watching their children? Everyone did. In high school, she even took care of a schoolmate's dying mother after school and on weekends. This poor bedridden woman was dying a terrible death from emphysema or lung cancer, and Kari would sit and care for her, keep her clean and fed, and visit with her. Wow. What high school kid would want to deal with that unless they had to? But Kari cared about people, and she always did what she could to help. And she always showed she cared by sharing. She had a great openness about her, a breezy way of chatting and getting to know people, genuinely connecting with them. She had such a fast brain, she could recall all kinds of details easily and find a way to connect and relate to a new person instantly. She loved to share information she thought would be helpful. She would offer suggestions, recommendations, and tips for things like how to save money at a restaurant, or the best way to buy a new car, or how to book a popular campsite, or make a tasty meal. She had a vast knowledge of so many topics that she would offer up to anyone and everyone she came across. She had a direct line from her computer-fast brain to her mouth. I used to love sitting and listening to her talk. Over the years, she shared stories about many of you. Maybe you've heard a few about me too. Where you went on vacation, how beautiful your home was, what your daughter studied in school, or when your grandchild was born. She somehow managed to keep track of all those details about all of us, and she could access it all so quickly and easily. Pretty impressive. So what have I learned by reflecting on Kari's great friend making and keeping example? In order to hone my friendship skills, I should remember to take my time and stay in the present, care about and listen carefully to people, be willing and open to connect with everyone by sharing my time and knowledge, and keep track of the important details about new and old friends so that we can continue to connect, care, and share as we learn and experience new things. I think the way Kari cared and shared made the world a better place. I'm going to try to live by her example. Thank you all for caring enough to listen as I shared my thoughts and memories today. Rest in peace, Kari. That's all I can say.
No. My name is Colleen, or Corky, and I met Kari here at camp. Right over there, there used to be this little shack, and that's where she had to store all the tents, and that's where I met her. And then we actually met again during working for Milwaukee Public Schools recreation, and then we never separated ever again. So I tend to talk a lot, so I thought I better cut it down. So I'm going to share with you the 10 best things about Kari Pokey. And just so you know, there's a lot more than 10, so I had to work hard to get here. All right, number 10. Kari had the ability to keep her polo shirt collar up during the entire opening day of camp, from staff lunch until every camper's luggage was delivered to their unit. And if my collar went down, she'd go, "Cork, Cork." Yeah. I could never keep it up and never. Kari had the gift to help small children and not so small children create masterpieces out of sand and number 10 cans of cheap wax. Kari truly loved her family, Joan and Maya and Chris, and as Becky said, she also brought all of us into her family. Number 7, oh, I'm not telling you the numbers, I'm sorry. Her love of music. For Kari and I, it was Rainbow Summer every Tuesday night in the summer down at the PAC, or else. If I made any other plans, she, nope, got to cancel them, and I did. Number 6, her love of traveling and her uncanny way of skillfully planning trips and then convincing you that no matter what she planned was going to be great. Just for an example, I went to travel to Tucson with her and Arby, and I was so excited. Tucson was hot and it was sunny, and I had on my sundress, and Kari said, "Oh, we're going to go up to the Grand Canyon." And I'm like, "Oh, is it hot and sunny there?" And she's like, "No." She goes, "But it'll be okay. It'll be worth it," right? So we drove all the way up to the Grand Canyon, and I had to go to Kmart to buy pants because I didn't have any, and they were blue sweatpants, and I had them all the way through graduate school. And she was right. It was worth it. Number 5, Kari taught me how to shop at thrift stores, the Council for the Blind in Value Village, because Goodwill was too expensive. Number 4, her love of great food. She could make pasta salad turn into a gourmet feast, a skill that I have never mastered. Number 3, her belief that toes should be free. So no socks until it snowed out. So I wore my Birkenstocks today, and let me just tell you, I know why we had to wear closed-toe shoes at camp. I picked so many sticks out of it. But I did it for Kari. Number 2, her love of nature. I will always see her in the colors of every sunset. And number 1, the best thing about Kari or Pokey is that we were able to spend a part of our lives with her. Her body may not be here with us anymore, but we all carry a little piece of Kari in our heart. I will miss her, and I've come to grips with it. I'm going to miss her for every day of my life, but I will continue to look for her and see her reflected in all of you and all the places and the sunsets that she so very much loved.
Okay, my name is Julie, and I was supposed to be speaking, but I'm gonna get a little help here from my wife.
My name is Julie, aka Speedy. We're gathered here today to say goodbye to Kari George, known as Pokey to me. She was my mentor, my friend, and role model. I would like to say a few words about her today as my personal tribute. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would go on to be a summer camp director. Pokey was my counselor when I was a counselor in training here at Camp Alice Chester 35 years ago. She taught me the skills I needed to be successful in my career as a camp director. Just a few things Pokey taught me. She taught me that mistakes are okay when she accidentally took a wrong turn and we ended up in Michigan. She taught me to see the beauty in everything when she taught me the art of dumpster diving. She taught me to be a great lifeguard by failing me from her class. I took it a second time and passed. Now I'd like to share a poem in Pokey's honor. At Sunset by G. Gilbert. Do you know the hour when the sun goes down is a beautiful time of day? When your work is done and the shadows fall and your worries are laid away. Well, it's just as true that the close of life can a beautiful sunset be. Every task well done, let the shadows fall. There's no fear of eternity. My wife talks so wonderfully about her time here. And we were driving here just the other day, and there was a story that I thought gave perspective to this type of a moment in life. And that is that when someone wonderful like Kari leaves us, that person looks down on us every day. And every life she touched, she sees as a point of life when she looks down on us. What an amazing view of the life she touched as a teacher, counselor, friend, partner, and mother. And what a bright light to see all the lives that Kari touched today.
Hi. So, my name is Jen. When I was at Alice Chester, I was named Ren. Kari and I met when we were 15. Actually, that's not true. We actually figured out that we met way earlier than that. We figured out at one point in time that we had both been in the RE program at Unitarian Church West in the 70s when our families mutually decided that somehow their children needed some religious education. And we both ended up at the hippiest church in Milwaukee. Trouble ensued. But Kari and I kidded that shared past probably destined us to meet again. And we did, in about 1981. Somehow Kari learned about Marge Mall's Girl Scout Mariner Troop Brigadoon, and she made her way south and joined. As a Girl Scout on the far south side of Milwaukee, this troop was the place to be. The Girl Scouts kept me safe and sane and happy. And in high school, when everything was really awful, being in that troop was my salvation. Friendship, fun stuff to do, outdoor recreation that my folks had absolutely no interest in, and adults who were superlative role models. And into this troop walked Kari George. Kari was exotic. She wore clothes from LL Bean. Flipped her collars, where's Corky? Flipped her collars and wore boat shoes. Boat shoes. Kari was funny and smart, and she was worldly. She was from Wauwatosa. Oh my God. Somehow, for some glorious, amazing, and miraculous reason, she liked me. She thought I was smart. She thought I was funny. She liked spending time with me. How lucky was I? And thus began a friendship that spans for 42 years. When Joan asked me to speak today, I dug out my box of special stuff looking for a particular photo of her. This photo, actually.
Oh, yeah.
With the pop collar. But I found so much more. For instance, this fabulous letter sent to me in school on a McDonald's bag, written on a cheeseburger wrapper. Because Kari worked at McDonald's in Mayfair, the one above the ice skating rink. Anybody? Yes, we are that old. And so it went. Kari and I eventually worked together at Alice Chester, and even now, so many years later, and so many wonderful, wonderful times have followed, those summers still remain some of my best times. Kari and I spent days off eating that weird baked in a paper bag pie from Elegant Farmer. Who does that? And listening to the Go-Go's. We watched the Northern Lights together the summer that they dipped down so far south. Camp ended and she visited me in Eau Claire, and I saw her in Milwaukee when I came home. Eventually I moved to New York and she visited me there too. She was at my wedding, the baby shower for my oldest daughter, and we rejoiced together on a cold night outside Canterbury Books in Madison when we confided in each other that we were both pregnant. We said out loud that we were worried about bringing children into the world as it was, and we decided together that it would be okay. We went on to celebrate those babies' birthdays, crafted Halloween costumes for them, camped as families, sent our daughters to Black Hawk. We watched them grow up and celebrated when they graduated from high school and became the wonderful women that we knew they would become that cold night in Madison. Kari was there for me when my marriage dissolved, and she cheered for me when I met someone wonderful, and she wanted to meet him, and she did. We talked about art and music and our mothers. What is extraordinary about our friendship is the amount of memories we packed in, because Kari and I did not see each other regularly. In fact, long periods would go by where we didn't see each other at all, but it never mattered. We always found each other, and when we did, it was as if our last visit had been just the day before. No awkwardness, no weird pauses. And other than my family, Kari is the person that I have known longest in this world. She's my only friend who knew me when. She will always be that exotic, worldly girl to me, and I will miss her.
Do I need that? Or should I use my teacher voice? I'm not on the schedule. I struggled over thinking about this because Kari's a very special person to me, as she is to all of you. And I actually woke up in the middle of the night, I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, a couple of days ago, and I suddenly was enlightened and thought I just needed to say something today. So here we go. This is my Kari George tribute. My friendship with Kari has its roots in this very place, Camp Alice Chester. I worked here as a staff member from my senior year in high school until the beginning of my art teaching career, with few drop-in visits, teaching art-making stints over the years. In fact, that mural right there, I did with kids. I had the chance to practice teach at camp when I was asked to and granted the opportunity to design an arts and craft program here, which was not there at that time. The following summer, I opened the Bauhaus, which means building house, that's named after the German arts and crafts movement that I was studying in college. I thought it was really cool. Doing that. So we turned that into the Bauhaus, and I was given a little wooden flap windowed cabin that was right at the top of this thing, which is gone right now. And the funny thing about that, it didn't have any electricity, so at about 7 o'clock at night, the thing was completely black, and we'd have flashlights taped to our heads to continue to do arts and crafts. Until 2 years later, when a bunch of fathers came and put electricity in, and we had a huge celebration because we could stay up and do crafts all night and still wake up and work with kids. This is when my connection with Kari officially began. She was a young camper at the time, but later she became a staff member herself, and she took over the Bauhaus. I couldn't have been more proud, and I mentored her during that time. We talked together and put things together, so she had a beginning start, but she was pretty much a genius teaching art. It was wonderful. I mentored her at the beginning, and she fit right in, continuing the program just as I began it. She was a natural at teaching art. This was the beginning of our friendship that continued to this day. She became my teaching peer when she came to MPS and applied to be an art specialist. She was part of what we called the next generation of art teachers, that we veteran teachers at that time, I probably was teaching for 15 or 20 years, became our mentees. She immediately became a leader with her peers. Strange but true, and I can tell you this because I taught in like 20 schools. She spent her entire teaching career in one school, which is unheard of. I sometimes would have 3 schools at a time.
Fairview, she was at Fairview and created a quality program that affected so many students and parents and fellow teachers. In the 90s, we both became mothers, and our wonderful children, my son Evan and her daughter Maya, have been friends ever since. That was a pretty magical time. And a few years apart, they continue to be friends. Over their years, our lives continued to intersect. I marveled as Kari and Joan and Maya made regular trips to Illinois to care for grandmother and uncle. I had the privilege to witness Kari and Joan's marriage in a rush during the little window when marriage was legal for a while, until, the week. And we all came with our blue jeans and our shirts and went and stood in the courthouse and cheered. It was pretty exciting. I followed their family on countless camping trips and travel adventures. When she retired during COVID and was just diagnosed with cancer, I rode in the many-car retirement parade salute that drove by her house and bottlenecked traffic through all of Bayview neighborhood that she lived in. We jumped for joy when she was well enough and even danced at Maya and Chris's wedding, and rejoiced at the travel adventures she and her family managed to have all the way to the end. My relationship continued full circle as I kissed her goodbye and sat by her bedside the day before she died. I want to recognize the extraordinary love and support that Joan and Maya and Chris and a few of her really close friends provided to Kari to honor her tenacious and stubborn need to continue to live life to the fullest despite her treatments and her illness. I have no doubt she went right to heaven, is now organizing tours for newcomers. I saw it right away. It's the first thing I thought. Just come this way. I'll show you the best cloud. Yeah, and then let me show you the cheapest way to travel. I am sure she's enjoyed a few dances with relatives who have passed, especially her beloved grandmother, who she cared for and deeply loved. Aloha, Kari. We all will have adventures in your honor in the future. Thank you for everything.
Hi. I'll be dancing very shortly. If any of you in the back there would like to come closer or stand up, you're welcome to. You won't be able to see me, I don't think. I'll be mostly low to the ground, but if you would like to, you're invited to.
When the fire inside that burns so bright begins to grow faded, it can be hard to see the ground on which you stand. Though you may not be afraid of walking in the darkness, you will feel like a stranger in this land. You can try to carve a faith out of your own, but a broken spirit may dry out the bone, and the edges of the night may cause you sorrow. You know I may not be around this time tomorrow, but I'll always be with you. Yeah, I'll always be with you. When the hope that you hold tightly to has all but vanished, and there are no words of comfort to be found, you will know what it means to be lost and without love. May you fight to kill that deafening sound. But our holy dreams of yesterday are gone. They still haunt us like the ghosts of Babylon, and the breaking of the day might bring you sorrow. You know I may not be around this time tomorrow, but I'll always be with you. I'll always be with you. broken spirit may dry out the bone, and the edges of the night may cause you sorrow. You know I may not be around this time tomorrow, but our holy dreams of yesterday are gone. They still haunt us like the ghosts of Babylon, and the breaking of the day might bring you sorrow. You know I may not be around this time tomorrow, but I'll always be with you. I'll always be with you. I'll always be with you. I'll always be with you.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Oh, hold on. Is it on? No, it is. Oh, it's on? Hi, everyone. My name is Dawn Balistreri, and I refer to myself as Kari's sister-in-law because Joan and I have been like sisters for so many years, and we shared so many happy memories. If you're thinking that what I'm wearing looks familiar, you're right, because it's from Kari's wardrobe. And last night, Joan and I had fun picking out something that would remind us all of her as if we needed. Anyway, I'd like to share with you the words of John Donahue. This is a blessing titled For the Traveler. Every time you leave home, another road takes you into a world you were never in. New strangers on other paths await. New places that have never seen you will startle a little at your entry. Old places that you know well will pretend nothing changed since your last visit. When you travel, you find yourself alone in a different way, more attentive now to the self you bring along, your more subtle eye watching you abroad, and how what meets you touches that part of the heart that lies low at home. How you unexpectedly attune to the timbre in some voice, opening in conversation you want to take in, to where your longing has pressed hard enough inward on some unsaid dark to create a crystal of light you could not have known you needed to illuminate your way. When you travel, a new silence goes with you. And if you listen, you will hear what your heart would love to say. A journey can become a sacred thing. Make sure before you go to take the time to bless your going forth, to free your heart of ballast so that the compass of your soul might direct you toward the territories of spirit where you will discover more of your hidden life and the urgencies that deserve to claim you. May you travel in an awakened way, gathered wisely into your inner ground, that you may not waste the invitations which wait along the way to transform you. May you travel safely, arrive refreshed, and live your time away to its fullest. Return home with more enriched and free to balance the gift of days that call you.
Mommy's looking for tomorrow on the loose. Have you ever seen the sunrise turn the sky completely red? Have you slept beneath the moon and stars, a pine bough for your head? Have you ever sat with friends, though a word is never said? Then you're just like me and you've been on the loose to climb a mountain, on the loose where I am free, on the loose to live my life the way I think my life should be. Oh, I only have a moment and a whole world yet to see. I'll be looking for tomorrow on the loose. There's a trail that I'll be hiking just to see where it might go. Many places yet to visit, many people yet to know. And I'm following my dreams. I will live and I will grow on a trail that's waiting out there on the loose to climb a mountain, on the loose where I am free, on the loose to live my life the way I think my life should be. For I only have a moment and a whole world yet to see. I'll be looking for tomorrow on the loose. So in search of love and laughter, I'll be traveling through this land. Never sure where I'm going, for I haven't any plans. And in time when you are ready, come and join me, take my hand, and together we'll share life out on the loose to climb a mountain, on the loose where I am free, on the loose to live my life the way I think my life should be. For I only have a moment and a whole world yet to see. I'll be looking for tomorrow on the loose. In this world that I am traveling, I will think of you each day, remembering your smile, for it seems like yesterday that we sat beneath the stars and we dreamed about today. We've come together and we are on the loose to climb a mountain, on the loose where I am free, on the loose to live my life the way I think my life should be. For I only have a moment and a whole world yet to see. I'll be looking for tomorrow on the loose.
Thank you so much. I could probably use my teacher voice. Thank you so much for being all here, for all of you being here today. It really, we've talked about this already, means a lot for us, or a lot to us, to see all the people who cared for Kari and also who extended that love to us. And a special thank you to all the people who had a part in planning the entire day today. We have a whole cadre of folks who've done everything from grabbing food to making food to setting up chairs to just thank you so much. Anyone who knows Kari knows she lived her life boldly and without apology. She was a passionate adventurer and always looking forward to the next trip, her next journey.
Though she may not be with us physically, as others have said, you can find her spirit in artwork or a song, among the trees, in the clouds, on a beach, in the setting sun, or a campfire. As you leave, please, we have several items here that are nature items, natural items. Please take something from the folks who are going to have those. And as you leave, please take something and put it in the fire as a symbol of Kari's light with all of us. Peace be with each of you today and always. Thank you.
Love you.